What's happening, friends? Welcome back for yet another episode of Waynecast, another solo show. Chris is still on remote. Actually, by the time I've done this, full transparency, I've recorded 3 in a row with the hopes of stacking them and releasing them every other week. So when I say that Chris is on location, it's going to sound like he took a vacation for 6 weeks, but he did not. So I want to talk about hiring a marketing agency. We've talked about this in small doses on the show, but 2 episodes ago on episode 65, I talked about 25 questions you should ask your web developer. We're going to do something similar. We're going to do 25 questions that you should ask your marketing agency. And I'm going to answer these just like I would with a client with full transparency. So the first question that I want to address here, I'm just going to go down this list. This is a list compiled by Jolynn Ferguson. My apologies on the first name. It was just spelled a little bit differently than I'm used to seeing Jolynn spelled. So anyhow, diving into this, I think all 25 of these questions are super relevant. Similar to the website podcast I did, we had, we've had every single one of those questions asked to us before, and you'll see some overlaps in these questions as well. So the first one is, how much experience do you or your team have? And then there's a little feedback notes. Get details about the agency or client side experience and the various functions that the prospective marketing company has had. So how much experience do we have? I've been doing social media and podcasting since 2014. So that'd be 8 years now. And then my team is varied anywhere between 2 years of experience to 10. So really just, it depends on who you're working with. But overall, in this new, we'll call it social media 2.0 phase, we've all been on that train since it started, and we're all really well adversed to the advertising side and the content production side. So question number 2, really like this question. Who else, if anyone, are you working with in my industry? Are there any competitive relationships I should know about? So interesting thing about Wayne Media, we have non-competes with all of our clients. So if you are a roofer in Brighton and you say, hey, we have a 25-mile radius, so I will not sign a contract to advertise with another roofer in that radius for 2 reasons. One, I want to maintain our relationship professionally, so I never want you to think, wow, he's doing more for this guy than he's doing for me. And 2, I don't want to compete against myself on ads. I'd essentially be bidding up my own strategy with 2 of the same types of companies. And I really don't find that to be valuable. So we have non-competes on the speakeasy side because it's podcasting, because it's media, because it's more personality driven. We don't have any non-competes. So we could have 2 mortgage companies, 2 realtors, 2 veterinarians. That'd be an interesting podcast. But the veterinarian podcast, we'll see if we can get one of those spun up. But yeah, we can have as many types of podcasters on here that share the same industry, largely because it's personality driven and it's less to do with advertising. But on the Wayne Media side of the house, non-competes all day. 3, who will be working on my account? I want to meet the people who will be on my team and make sure we see eye to eye. Love this question. During our onboarding meeting, we will introduce the entire team. During the sales meeting, you'll get a gist of who's going to be on the team. And if needed, we can have a secondary meeting so you can meet the supporting cast as well. But typically, social media teams contain 2 to 4 people, depending on if we're doing videography and photography. And those will be the same people that will be on the account unless there's some type of hiring change or a promotion or something like that. Number 4, how often will I see my account executive and the principals of the agency? Hopefully at least once a month. I mean, we communicate with our social media clients weekly, just from a content perspective, to make sure that people are happy with the decks and things are going well. You might, as you get more and more comfortable, you might hear from us once a month if there's no major changes on the content or the advertising strategy. But I would say our average communication is probably once per week with our clients as a whole. All right, what recent successes can you cite? What specific details about your firm's contributions? So we've published one particular case study that I really enjoy highlighting. It's with a remodeling company in Louisville. All of the financials are in there. Basically, in the year of 2020, and we did this for 2021 as well, we're getting ready to release that study, which is even better than this one. In the year of 2020, we tracked every dollar that this remodeling company spent on advertising, what they paid us, and what they paid the ad platforms. And at the end of the year, when you looked at what sales originated directly from our efforts, there was an 11-to-1 ROI, meaning for every dollar that they spent either on ads or on management, they made 11. Crazy. Industry average is 3-to-1 on a total, total ROI, not just a ROAS, which is return on ad spend. I'm talking about from management to ads, 11-to-1 ROI. I will tell you this, preliminarily, the 2021 numbers are double that. So we just keep smashing home runs. And what our contribution was to that was we really have, one, it starts with the company, right? I can't market a company that isn't good-natured from the beginning, and I won't either. So this company is just phenomenal people from top to bottom. They have quality in every measurable way, from the work that they do to the people that they hire and the way in which they conduct themselves. So that's key. When you have somebody like that, when you have someone that does that type of work, you really quickly see how easy it is to market that, because now you're just telling their story. And when a customer meets them, they're just like they were in the video. They're just like they see on the website. And it makes that transition super simple, because what they're seeing on the website is what they're seeing in person. There's a confidence that's built there, and it makes the sale that much easier. All right, let's see here. Can you provide examples of case studies? We covered that. That was question 6. Got a little off track here. Oh, no, that was it. Can you provide examples of case studies? So yeah, that was number 5 and 6. 7, do you use freelancers? No, we don't. Pretty simple. Number 8, how often do you communicate with clients on progress and results? That's similar to question number 4. We want to track weekly. We send out monthly reports that give full breakdowns on advertising and social media impressions. So, again, anywhere from weekly to monthly, we communicate, drop reports, and ensure that you're in the know on what's going on. We use we'll call it an aggregate software called Agency Analytics that pulls together all of your analytics from every corner of the web. So if you have Google ads, Facebook ads, Google Analytics, Ahrefs, we pull together all of that data into one concatenated report so you can see everything that you're on in a really quick overview. So that's one of my favorite tools that we use. It is complex, but on the client side, it looks nice and smooth. On our side, boy, is it a logistical mess sometimes, just because they keep making updates. Killing me. All right. So number 9, I love this question. Tell me about a project that didn't work out and what you did about it. So I've documented on this podcast a show called How We Lost $20,000 in a Weekend. And that was basically me not hiring the correct videographer because I didn't really do the due diligence that I should have. And that resulted in us losing the client. And it ended up fine. Obviously, we took ownership of that matter and apologized and offered everything that we could offer, and it ended fine. That being said, we lost the client just because of the lack of relationship that was built there, which is 100% on us. And that was a learning experience. We've talked about that a bunch on this show, how we learn when we lose clients. And that first year that I did More Than Marketing, which was kind of a preamble to this show, I documented every client that we lost. Every time we lost something, whether it was because of a dust up with another agency or just a disagreement with a CMO, all of those things were documented on that podcast. So super important. And then number 10, when was the last time you lost an account? Very similar to that question. They kind of go hand in hand. I guess from a project perspective, if I look back at question 9, tell me about a project that didn't work out. We really haven't had any website projects that haven't worked out. Everything has really gone well. We've never had to issue a refund for a website. Everyone has been happy with the end product. On the video side, again, in the beginning, we had a problem with video, but even to date, since Rob Sass has come on board and really done a nice job leading our video efforts, we've never had an issue because of that level of communication and clarity. And if there's a mistake, we'll go back and correct it. And that's super important. Number 11, in addition to current clients, can you provide a few former clients as references? So, like I said, we've done over 150 websites. We've shot, and just last year alone, we shot over 75 videos. So If someone wanted access to former clients, we could certainly provide that list. Number 12, what financial incentives do you have for products and services you may recommend? Do you get commissions or affiliate fees? No, don't believe in that unless it's podcast advertising. But for marketing or advertising, like we don't do any of that. 13, what ongoing training do you provide for your staff? How do you ensure they stay current on the latest and greatest approaches? The biggest thing is just meeting. We meet creatively at least twice a week to talk about internal and external content, creative trends. We roll out education classes when need be. And a lot of the education just comes from creators, developers, and people that are in the agency line of work on YouTube or through SEO journals or through marketing journals. And that's really the best line of education and how to stay up on things. Because if you go off of textbooks, by the time that textbook is printed, half of it's probably obsolete. So that's the way that we stay up to speed on the latest and greatest. What ongoing training, we talked about that. Are the big names on your client list companies you have worked with at this firm or organization your team have served or been employed by in the past? This is a tremendous question. I love this. So let me tell you why people might ask this question. So if you ever go to a website and you might see Ford or GM or, SpaceX or Tesla, you might see all these big name companies saying, hey, we have worked with them. More often than not, that agency did not sign a contract with that company. Rather, one of their employees had done some freelance work with them, and they can say that they've done work in that capacity, which I find a little misleading. So for us, we don't put the names of any of our clients on our website unless it's in a case study example. So that way there's some context behind why that name is on there. The name, the logo library does look impressive, but I would prefer to have a story behind that logo rather than just trying to coast off of somebody else's merits. 15, who do I call if you have a problem? You call your project lead. Whoever is the owner of your project, which you will be well familiar with who that is, you call. If you can't get a hold of them, you call me. You have at least 4 people's phone numbers on your team. If you have a team of 4, you have everyone's numbers, everyone's emails. Start at the project lead and work your way down. And we want to be as communicative as possible. So no call centers, no press 2 for this person. You're going to have my cell phone number. We got 50-something clients. All of them have my cell phone number. And we've done a really good job of organizing our team. I really hardly ever get calls because my team is in communication with the clients. They are empowered to do that. That's a big part of decentralized command. And that's so I can lead the company, do sales, cast some vision while they are excellent at leading the accounts. That's how a company ought to run. 16, what does your billing structure look like? Are there items that must be paid in advance? What about payment terms? So our billing structure is pretty simple. Everything is paid in advance on the first of the month, net 3. So if you have a $2,000 contract for the month of January, on January 1, you'll get billed out net 3. That payment is due within that time period. Nothing is pay after unless it's the remaining deposit on like a website or a video. But any recurring work that's done, whether it's podcasting or marketing, is paid up front. This is super important too. The ads are billed directly to you. So we don't buy the ads and then you pay us a premium. We just set up your credit cards or debit cards or, banking or whatever it is on that particular ad account, and they draft it from you. Agencies have this nasty habit of wanting to pay for your ads for you and then charging you a 10% premium. I hate that. We don't do it. Just bill you directly. It's much cleaner. How do you bill for expenses? Is there a markup or other expenses invoiced at cost? It really just depends. If we're doing consulting, it's hourly, and it depends on who's doing the consulting. If I'm doing the consulting, it's the most expensive hourly rate. If it's other people, it's going to be a little bit less. And that's all clear and up front, and the scope of the hours are approved before it's even actioned. And if I say it's going to be 5 and it ends up, and I get to hour 5, I'll call you and say, I need 2 more. Are we good? And you'll say yes or no. So everything is upfront, informed, written down, so there's no gray areas. Super important. For creative work, how much can I edit, review, or redirect the work? Is there a limit of revision? So in the context of social media, typically how it works is we create a month's worth of content at a time, and that's all planned out. So usually, like right now, it's 7th of January. By the 21st, all of February's content for our clients will be done. You'll be able to review that, And then we want finalization finished by the 26th or 28th. So that way you can see that all the content is scheduled. You can post revisions that you want. Let's change this word. Let's add an exclamation point. Give me a couple more emojis. We'll throw all that in there. And we'll be collaborative in that process as well. We'll tell you why we made the choices that we did, and we'll go back and forth until everyone's happy. What do you consider a rush project? Are there any fees for this? If so, how much? I don't do rush projects. I find that you lose a lack of quality, and this sounds a little cold, and I certainly don't mean it this way, but your lack of planning is not my responsibility. And if we need to turn something around quickly, odds are it wasn't for a well thought out reason anyway. So I've experienced this before. People say, "Hey, I need a website in 14 days," which is weird. But so in the past, we'd say, "Okay, yeah, we can do that. We'll put a rush on it. We'll charge X amount more for it." And then we get to day 14, the client's not ready. Let's push it out an extra 2 weeks. And just what could have been a 30 to 45 day project done reasonably and calm turns out to be a project that was rushed, and then it was just bastardized from day 15 to day 45. What are the core values of your firm? How do they impact our clients? All of our core values of our firm are on the Wayne Media page. There are 5 of them. So if you go to waynemedia.com and select About, you'll see it says what our company stands for: never outsourcing, putting our employees first, extreme ownership, doing unto others, which is just simply treating people well, and family over business. Can't emphasize this one enough. The work that we do at our company is not the most important work we do in our lives. I want people to have a good outside of work life. This should not be what their life revolves around. It's not a good formula. Number 21, what will you do to get to know my business? Well, first off, we're going to meet. We're going to go through your website, your social profiles. We're going to watch any video that you've made, any blog that you've written. We're going to try and learn your voice, learn who you are. We want to make sure we have a really good idea of who you are as a business so we can represent that on social media, through advertising, all that jazz. So we'll take every step that we can to get to know you the best that we can. Do you expect to reassess or reinvent my strategy? Maybe. This is question 22. Maybe. It just depends on where your current strategy is at, and if you think that we need if you think that we need to make a change, or if we think we need to make a change, someone will bring that up, and then we'll action it together collaboratively. I'm never going to say, "Hey, we're never going to change the strategy," or "We're always going to change the strategy." It's going to be based on what's working. I've had a client that's had the same ad strategy for 12 months. It's doing just as good or better in month 12 as it did in month 1. I got other clients that need to refresh every 30 days. It just depends on what's needed and when it's needed. Number 23, very interesting question. Who do you think should have creative control? Well, it's your business, so you should have creative control. But we should have the ability to give you our recommendations, and you should have the acumen to listen and digest our recommendations and make a decision based on what you think is going to be best for your business. If I have creative control of your business, I could make decisions that are outside of the scope of your vision. So again, this goes back to the collaboration. It's not you or me, it's everything, but you have to have the final call. It's your business. Number 24, what happens if I'm not happy with someone on the team? Well, we need to talk about that. If you're not happy with someone on the team, we need to work through that. And if it's something that that team member has done wrong, I need to know so I can action that. And we need to make sure we repair that relationship if at all possible. And if it's something that is, wrong at the core and it's a consistent problem with someone on my team, then I'll have to address that accordingly. But we've never had that issue where we've had to have someone removed from an account. Everything has been able to be worked through, and these are all just minor bumps. And then lastly, number 25, what do you look for in a successful client relationship? Again, to navigate back to kind of the 3 things that we look for as a company. We want creativity, we want communication, and we want consultation. So we want all of those things. We want collaboration, and that's a part of the creative process. We want communication so we can make sure that we're talking back and forth well and timely. and we want consultation so you can tell us what you think is working, what you're seeing on the spreadsheet, and we can tell you what we think is working and what you need to double down on. That is a successful client relationship. Nothing more, nothing less. So that is a lot of questions. That is a lot of content to digest as a business owner. And I fully understand that. The point to all of this is, whether you ask 5 questions or 25 questions, is you need to understand exactly why you're hiring a media team and what the purpose is behind it. I had a client come to me and they said, "Hey, Rob, I got a $6,000 video budget. I want to shoot a video for the homepage of my website." I said, "Excellent. What's it for?" I'm like, "I just want one." Just want one. For what? They didn't know what it was for. They didn't know how they were going to use it. They just know they wanted it on the front page of the website, which they don't run any ads towards. They don't invest in SEO. So I told them, here's a better strategy. Here's how you can spend that $6,000 to be more effective for you. They ended up going with another company that would shoot them a video that was going to do nothing for them. And that is the difference between us and the other guys. And I'm not talking down to any of my competitors or anything like that. I don't believe we have any competitors because no one does media the way that we do. No one does podcasting. No one's made these investments. No one has layered an in-house media team on top of podcasting before. This is a first. So I look at things from a why are you going to do it perspective, not, hey, let me cash your check. I talked to Chris on a couple episodes back. I had a client say, hey, I got a $15,000 to $20,000 web budget. Here's the 2 sites I need. He didn't need to spend 20 G's. He needed to spend 9. And then that other 11, he could have invested elsewhere, more videos, more media, or just pay out himself and take a nice vacation, because 9 would get the job done with everything that he needed. We are in the business of consulting, first and foremost. I'm going to give you my opinion on what I think is best, not how I can cash your check the fastest or how I can make the most amount of money. The money for us as a company is in the long-term relationship with clients where we're providing good services. If that is not our main focus, we ought not to be in business. So when you ask these questions of a media company, think long and hard about why you're hiring them and if it's going to be a good relationship. We don't bat 1,000. We have companies that come on, they say, I want to try this for 90 days. I'm uncertain of how it'll work just based on our structure as a company. This is the client speaking, of course. And then so we try things for 90 days. Sometimes they don't work. Sometimes they do. And I'm not saying we bat 1,000 and that, we can always hit home runs. I don't make any guarantees, but the only guarantee I can make is that we're going to do our absolute best to perform at our highest capacity for our clients. That's it. I can't guarantee revenue because I don't know who's answering your phone. I don't know who's going on that service call. I don't know who's making the sales pitch, but I can guarantee you we're going to do our best. That's it. And you should expect no less from the marketing company that you hire. I've seen too many small businesses burned down by marketing companies that there was active and available data online that they could have looked at to know they were walking into a hornet's nest. So please, please, please vet the marketing companies that you're using. Use this list, which will be linked up in the show notes. Whatever you want to do, but just make sure that there is a why behind the action. That's it. Catch you next week. Take care.